Hello and welcome to Lunchtime Politics, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial nerve center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzoma. Here's what's coming up on the program. Supreme Court affirms the victory of Governor Siminalayi Fubara of Rivers State, Agbu Kefas of Taraba State, and that of his colleague in Sokoto State, Ahmad Aliyu, after dismissing appeals by their petitioners. Ondo State Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa nominates for the Deputy Clerk of the National Assembly, Mr. Olaide Adelami, as Deputy, appoints more persons into his government. And Defense Headquarters denies bias in Mango killings on the Plateau, describes allegation as false. Thanks again for joining us on the program. The latest decision by the Supreme Court is where we begin the tracking of the polity from. Following his dismissal of appeals by the Rivers State APC governorship candidate, Mr. Tony Cole, against the election of Governor Siminalayi Fubara. Mr. Cole, among other things, is challenging the victory of Governor Siminalayi Fubara on the grounds that he did not resign as the Accountant General of Rivers State before the election, non-compliance with the Electoral Act, and alleged irregularities. The judgment read by Justice Mohammed Sulawa on behalf of the 5-member panel of justices led by Justice Kudirat Kekereku dismissed the appeal for lacking in merit. And just not too far away, a moment ago, we saw that the Rivers State Deputy Governor, Professor Ngozi Odu, had arrived at the government house to await the governor. Those are the live pictures, or those are the pictures from the government house. That's the Deputy Governor of Rivers State, looking very sporty and youthful, quite excited that our principal has been affirmed as the Governor of Rivers State. So no more distractions for them. They now have to face governance. And any moment from now, the governor is expected to join her and the rest of the people waiting to celebrate their victory at the Supreme Court. Now, that's not all that happened. The Supreme Court, in a unanimous judgment or decision, also affirmed that Governor Kefas Agbo as the governor of Taraba State, dismissing the appeal by Professor Yahaya Sani of the NNPP for grossly lacking in merit. Professor Sani of the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, is asking the Apex Court to set aside the victory of Governor Agbo Kefas as the governor of Taraba State over allegations of non-compliance with the Electoral Act, irregularities, and other malpractices. And to the Sokoto State governorship appeal, where the appellant, Saidu Umar of the PDP, is challenging the election of Governor Ahmed Aliyu of the APC as governor of the state. The Supreme Court, however, upheld the concurrent judgments of the Court of Appeal and Tribunal, affirming Ahmed Aliyu as the governor of Sokoto State, dismissing the appeal of Saidu Umar of the PDP for lacking in merit. So we've had a series of judgment days. Today was one of them. So 3 states are out, Rivers, Taraba, and Sokoto State. Let's talk security, where the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wike, has asked the area council chairman and traditional rulers to set up vigilante groups in their various communities. The minister gave the directive during a meeting with the area council chairman and traditional rulers over the security situation in Abuja. He says the federal government will embark on more demolition of shanties in the FCT as a way to uncover illegal occupants and criminals, and also plans to roll out the FCT-owned buses and cars and begin the profiling of drivers.
We have instructed all the area councils to set up vigilantes, and we will believe that those vigilantes will not be the ones perpetrating the crime. Therefore, they must be profiled to know who are these people. Do we know them? Are they from our communities? And again, some of you may have heard, we're demolishing shanties. You know that it is difficult for you to identify criminals in pure houses. Criminals would like to perpetrate and go to where you wouldn't know where they are. And so most of these shanties house the criminals. So we have taken upon ourselves to let you know that from time to time, government will continue to demolish shanties. Very soon, we are going to roll out our buses, which will be painted in Abuja color. In that case, we will not allow taxis that are not painted in Abuja color to operate here. So that this one chance will no longer be there.
Let's stay with the issue of security. This time we head to Plateau State. That in the last 3 months, bandits have carried out separate attacks in about 30 communities affecting 4 local government areas within killing over almost 200 people. Mostly affected are women and children, with dozens of homes destroyed by terrorists. The latest attack in Kwahaslalek village is shocking, coming behind the attacks in Mango, Barikin as well as Bokos local government area. While still, these coordinated attacks are occurring despite assurances by the military hierarchy that they are dealing with the rising insecurity in the Plateau and the North Central.
Until recently, Plateau State was ranked among the most peaceful in the country. But the same cannot be said today, as bandits have repeatedly wreaked havoc on several villages in 30 communities across 4 local government areas. This is Bokos and Barkinladi local governments, and on the eve of Christmas in 2023, bandits ravaged the communities, terrorizing residents, destroying homes, and leaving a trail of deaths numbering about 90.
It was raining at that moment, so 2 men came in army uniform, as if they packed for the rain to be over. So after the rain, they left. And later in the night, that was the time people, those armed men, they came and started spraying bullets on them. He was outside, so he ran for his dear life to hide.
The governor of the state, Caleb Mufwang, was appalled by the incident, as shown in his statewide broadcast.
It is quite grievous to my heart that Plateau today has become the cynosure of the whole nation, and indeed the world, for the wrong reasons. These unprovoked and simultaneous attacks in different villages were clearly premeditated and coordinated. This series of attacks on our people are a clear case of criminality, insurgency, and terrorism, and must be seen and handled in that manner.
Several meetings were held by the security chiefs, even up to the Senate. President Bola Tinubu gave a clear directive for them to apprehend the terrorists, and the military hierarchy promised that something will be done.
I must tell you unequivocally that the military is up to the task on the Plateau. What happened was a political conflict wrongly managed that snowballed on Christmas Day, and we are working to address it going forward. There's a role for every other stakeholder to play in resolving this conflict. And so we are ready to work with all these stakeholders to ensure that peace and stability return to Plateau.
Less than a month after this promise, similar attack is recorded in Mangu village of Mangu local government, and today Kwahaslalek village in the borders of Mangu and Barkinladi local government areas. The total death toll from the 2 attacks is 34. These attacks has led to several people in the affected communities deserting their homes, but it will take a renewed effort and more assurances from the military to match words with action in keeping the people of Plateau State safe and secure.
Let's come to the very recent attack in Mango, where a reverend had accused the military of bias and shielding some sections that are involved in this against the other. Now, the defense headquarters has responded to those allegations by the reverend. They say they are baseless and untrue, and that the military is, the accusation that the military is biased and supports a particular group against the other over killings in Mango, they are baseless and untrue. In a statement by the Acting Director of Defense Information, Brigadier General Tukogoso, the military says the troops have carried out their duties professionally and in accordance with the rules of engagement. The military further explains that They will deal with anyone found disobeying the law and will continue to remain neutral, professional, and committed to protecting citizens' lives. Well, the issue of Plateau State has been on the front burner for a long time, which is why we are bringing it to focus today, because our people are being killed and the carnage everybody wants is to stop. We're being joined on the program to share perspective on this particular issue by the Commissioner for Information in Plateau State, Mr. Musa Achoms. Mr. Achoms, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me, Mr. Joffrey.
Okay, let's get straight to it. I think I will begin with these allegations that the military has denied. The Reverend Samson Dalok, I think that's his name, Khan chairman of Mangu, made a video accusing the military of bias and even made some statements about ethnic coloration, accusing the military of shielding a particular group and allowing the other group to carry out the carnage and all of that. The military has come to say, no, we are professional, we have been neutral, we have done our job proficiently and all of that. What is the government saying? The military has spoken, the people involved have spoken. What does the government know?
As a government, we wouldn't want to take sides because what we're here for is to give equal representation to all and sundry, not minding their creed, not minding their tribes, not minding their... So as a government, this is unfortunate, this is uncalled for. This does not act. If it were neat in the board, you wouldn't have had these allegations and counter allegations, or accusations and counter accusations. So as a government, we will want a situation whereby our people will live peacefully so that these issues don't even come up in the first instance. So basically, you will not blame people when they see that their lives and means of livelihood are taken. They begin to spot foul play elsewhere. But for us as a government, that is not the issue. The issue for us is to have a peaceful Mangu, is to have a peaceful Bariki Ladi, is to have a peaceful Bokos, and of course, peaceful Plateau State. Once that is done, nobody will accuse anybody. So for the accusations not to crop up in the first instance, the best thing to do is to suppress insurrection, is to repel attacks, is to arrest the perpetrators of these dastard acts, is for these perpetrators of these dastard acts to face the law, to face the consequences of what they are doing. Because when you pick up arms against the state, that is insurrection. You are supposed to be given the right punishment, the requisite punishment. But once you see that villages attacked, some are being foiled, before the Wahalak massacre, there were attempts by assailants, by criminals, to attack 3 villages, which they were repelled, like Farinkasa. So as far as our people are concerned, they have the right to raise observations when they see them. They have the right to say, this is what we think. And for those issues to be dispelled, the best thing to do is to have a peaceful environment. And you will not be saying this. 5 days ago, you didn't hear anybody say anybody is taking sides. Why they are making these allegations is because there's crisis in the land, is because there's killings, is because worship centers are being touched, is because homes are being touched. And you recall that not long ago, the military boosted what they call Operation Hakoren Damisa and Mangu local government. So with such a presence, we'll expect that we'll not have this kind of carnages. We'll not have people come in their numbers to just take people's lives like animals. Even animals, you don't just take them like that. It is on special occasions or events that people slaughter animals in their numbers. When you see people killing women and children, what has happened to our humanity? What has happened to living in unity and harmonious coexistence? What has happened to all of that? So for us as a government, we want a situation whereby there won't be killings on the plateau, so that you don't even find anybody talk about people taking sides.
All right, Mr. Achoms, so that we'll take as many questions as possible. You can understand the frustration of the people. If you're in there, if anybody who is in that particular place or in that particular situation, and looking at how much carnage has gone on, and there appears to be no end in sight. So, isn't it time to speak in clear terms? Who is responsible for this? What is responsible for this? 100, almost 185 people, whilst waiting for Christmas Day, couldn't make it to Christmas Day because of a carnage. January has not ended. 30 people in Mango have all died today, laying down, never to be alive again. Isn't it time to speak in clear terms? The people cannot continue to just die.
And fingers are pointed to the same spot, to the same direction. There's a need for the man behind the mark. Not be dancing macabre dance, one step forward, two steps backward instead. There's a need for those that are community to begin to profile the criminals. As a government, our work is not to profile criminals. There are persons who the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has saddled with this responsibility. They must do that for us not to have this gangsterism, for us not to have gangsters of epidemic proportion, killing from one village to another and getting away with it. There is, when you noticed in the Christmas
Mr. Chomps, if you can hear me just a minute, please, because network connection is not allowing us to pick all you're saying. So who are you blaming for this? We also need to hear you clearly, but network connection, I guess, is a network. So we want to hear you clearly because you're the one, you're the government speaking on behalf of the government. Who are you blaming for this? Clear terms. Because you've been speaking, that's why I said clear terms.
Yes, we are blaming criminals that come to kill our people. We are blaming assailants. We are blaming bandits. We are blaming terrorists that need to be suppressed by agents of the government.
Mr. Chomps, you cannot blame bandits, criminals, and assailants. That's what they are. That's why they are classified as criminals, bandits, and assailants. Their job is to cause mayhem and cause fear. You cannot blame a doctor for being a doctor. You cannot blame a lawyer for being a lawyer. You cannot blame a criminal for being a criminal. Someone is failing. Who is failing?
I've itemized those that have failed in the eye of the people. The people who want to have a peaceful environment where they can do their businesses, they can go about their farming activities, where they can stay in their ancestral lands without molestations. I've told you, we need to have community policing so that our people will defend themselves, so that our people will protect themselves. It's long overdue. We cannot be talking about the same thing over and over. This is over 21 years on the Plateau where you have these carnages. Like before His Excellency became governor, Mangu was never a part of it. The moment he won election, Mangu became the epicenter. After when we were in court, they withdrew a bit from Mangu and went to other local government. Now that the Supreme Court has declared him governor, it has gone back to Mangu again. You know, we do not gather intelligence on behalf of the security agencies. We only share ideas. We only cross-fertilize. We only cross-breed. We only look at these things from perspectives and we give them information. So this thing, like I told you, if there's a man behind the mask, he needs to be unveiled. If there are men behind the mask, they need to be unveiled. People cannot be bigger than Nigeria. We cannot be going through this evil and vicious cycle over and over again. If you want me to name a name, there are videos all over. People have said these are the persons that came in cahoot with us to go and kill. They should be arrested. And when they are arrested, yesterday I was on a radio program on Nigeria Now. My colleague in the program said the prisons are filled with criminals. That the requisite punishment should be given to these people when you kill. It is expedient that you are killed too, so that you will not continue with this gangsterism. It will help us as a people. It's quite unfortunate that we are saying this on national TV, but we cannot continue with this gangsterism over and over.
Does this align? Because you heard, if you watch the report we played before I started talking to you, the CDS, COAS rather, Chief of Army Staff, on our Christmas Day, end of year program, December 31st, it said it's mismanaged political crisis that has snowballed into Christmas Day carnage. And you are affirming that as well. He also traced back in that particular interview, because I was part of that conversation, that in 1995, the election of a chairman somewhere in Just North also sparked this crisis. So isn't it time for the political actors to come together? And what is the governor doing besides setting up or directing or giving order for a curfew and all of that? What is he doing to make sure that peace and order and hope is restored to the people? 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's like overflogging a dead horse for you to say this is a political crisis. It is not. It is ethnic cleansing. It is land grabbing. It is annihilation. It has nothing to do with politics. And politics is over. There is no contest for any seat on the plateau. So I don't know why people will limit this thing and cubicle it to politics. It is not politics, sir. On the plateau, the APC belonged to the PDP in the past. 98% of those in the APC today were members of the PDP. If they had issues, they moved to the APC. They didn't fight anybody. On the plateau, we don't fight because of politics, sir. We only fight at the polling unit. Go and check our history. But in the event that we cannot say that there was never a political crisis on the plateau, but it wouldn't escalate to this level where you go to villages and kill women and children and you name that politics. It's beyond politics. It's above politics. It's far from it. It has no nexus with politics. It is annihilation. It is land grabbing. It is termination of people. It is ethnic cleansing.
I must thank you, Mr. Musa Ashams, Commissioner for Information, on this particular issue. You've raised these allegations about what the real issues are. And we hope the federal government, as well as everybody involved, listens and acts so that the people stop getting killed. I must thank you for coming, Mr. Musa Ashams. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you. God bless Plateau State.
Okay, let's move away from Plateau to Ondo politics, where Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa has been busy setting up his team as the administration winds down and prepares for the polls in September. The governor began by dissolving the state cabinet, which was followed by the nomination of former deputy clerk of the National Assembly, Mr. Laide Adelami, as his deputy. Whilst the state House of Assembly received Mr. Adelami's name, he approved the appointment of Mr. Tayo Oluwatuyi as the secretary to the state government, a role he occupied under former Governor Rotimi Akeredolu was passed. The governor also approved the appointment of Mr. Bayomi Olasonya as the chief of protocol. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edun, believes Nigeria must make necessary sacrifices to generate adequate revenue to reduce its current high deficit budget financing as well as reduce borrowing. Mr. Edun, who was speaking at the meeting organized by the Federal Inland Revenue Service in Abuja, maintains that the country cannot rely on borrowing to fund its national budget.
Management staff of the Federal Inland Revenue Service are converging on this haul to strategize for the year 2024. The federal government has set an ambitious 19.4 trillion naira revenue target for the service, and this meeting is discussing how to make that a reality.
We are embracing an integrated tax approach, leveraging technology at every step. This approach positions service at the forefront of innovation, ensuring that we meet the evolving needs of our taxpayer in a rapidly changing world.
Last year, the service generated 12.3 trillion naira, and the task before the management is to do more.
In seeking to process a $1.5 billion financing from the World Bank, we're looking for free money that is going to be given not for a specific project in agriculture, in education, or in health. It is money that comes straight to the balance of payments for the government to spend as it sees fit in any given area of the economy.
The FRS now contributes about 70% of the total federation revenues. Yet, a lot of tax revenues are left uncollected. The current tax base needs to be expanded while at the same time finding new and improved ways and means and partnerships that engender tax revenue growth.
After the meeting, the chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service gives insight into what its activities for the year will look like.
Our focus is not to go and be taxing informal sector. Our focus is actually to bring informal sector to formal sector. And then when you go to abroad now, Louis Vuitton, they are tailoring, they are shoemaker. And then can you call them informal? So our focus should be how do we bring all these vocational skill? How do we get them registered? How do we put them in such a way that government can actually deal with them and would make them formal?
The management of the service is hoping to leverage on technology and manpower to achieve the 19.4 trillion naira target set by the federal government. Sarah Chimugo, Channels Television News.
Let's come to neighboring Ogun State, where Governor Dakwa Abiodun has sworn in 3 judges of the State High Court and Customary Court of Appeal. At the ceremony held at the Cinema Hall of the Hubert Ogunde Center in Abeokuta, the state capital, Governor Abiodun charged the new judges to uphold the fundamental principles of the rule of law to maintain a high degree of integrity in discharging their duties.
Judges being sworn in today should see themselves as custodians of a proud and hero pedigree from whom our people have a right to expect so much. Let me remind you that to be able to effectively dispense justice, you must not only rise above temptations and trials, but also be calculative, honest, objective, and dispassionate in all ramifications. I'm therefore confident that with the swearing in of these new judges in the High Court and the Customary Court of Appeal, the tradition of integrity, diligence, industry, and excellence that have been the hallmark of our state judiciary will not only be continued, but will also be enhanced. To the distinguished appointees, your appointment represents a cornerstone of our justice system. Your wisdom, fairness, and unwavering commitment to upholding the rule of law will undoubtedly contribute to the continued strength and impartiality of our judiciary.
To Edo State now, concerns and agitations over the cost of expression of interest and nomination forms for aspirants who wish to contest on the platform of the Labour Party at the upcoming governorship election in Edo State continues to grow. So in a bid to mount pressure on the party to review the cost of the forms, 18 of the aspirants have formally written to the party's National Working Committee to re-evaluate the fees and make them more affordable. The sale of the forms is slated to begin today, ahead of the party's primary scheduled for February the 22nd. And that's it on the program. Thank you so much for your time and, of course, your usual company. I'm Jeffrey Uzongo. You've been served on Lunchtime Politics.